You know that feeling when you get a brilliant idea, a story, a project, a character, and you're so excited, but then life happens and it just fades away. We all have a little graveyard of those unfinished ideas. But what if I told you they don't just disappear? What if they go somewhere?
No, I'm serious. Think about it for a second. Where do they all go? All those half-baked stories and characters you dreamed up and then just left behind. Well, we're going to explore a pretty magical answer to that question today. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around because the answer reveals something incredibly cool about what happens when we do finish what we start.
So let's meet our hero, Elena Torres. She's 12, and her mind isn't just active. It's a full-blown, non-stop movie theater of ideas. That quote, that's what she told her mom when she asked if she ever took a break from thinking. For Elena, these stories aren't just quiet thoughts. They are loud, and they are demanding.
So let's dive into Elena's world, a place where, honestly, the line between reality and imagination is just incredibly thin.
6. That's the number. Not 6 ideas, not 6 characters. 6 entire, sprawling universes, all swirling around in her head at the same time. We're talking about a massive amount of creative energy just bubbling under the surface, all fighting for her attention.
Yeah, her brain just works on a totally different level. A boring homework assignment? Nope. For Elena, that's a legendary battlefield. Those little doodles in her notebook? Those aren't just flowers, they're fire-breathing dragons. Every single moment is a potential story just waiting to explode onto the page.
All right, but here's where things take a crazy turn. What happens when all those brilliant, half-finished characters get tired of waiting? What happens when they decide to rebel?
Okay, so this is Kale. He's the star of her biggest, best idea. He's got the cool blue hair, a sword literally made of moonlight. I mean, come on, he's the total package. He's also her favorite, and the one she's neglected the most, and, well, he's had enough.
So picture this. Elena's in her room one night, and suddenly, bam, a flash of silver light just erupts from her notebook. And there he is, Kale, standing right there, real as you or me, holding his glowing sword. And he looks right at her and says, "Greetings, Offer. It is time you finish the story."
Elena, as you can imagine, is completely floored. She asks him, which story? And his answer is every creator's worst nightmare. He doesn't want her to finish just his story, oh no. He wants her to finish all of them, all 6 universes. The weight of that is just too much, and she faints.
When she wakes up, she is definitely not in Kansas anymore. She's in this huge floating castle, and the walls are made of letters, the floor is made of pages. She has arrived at the Academy of Unfinished Characters, the home of every idea she ever started and forgot.
And this place is pure, wonderful chaos. You've got robots getting into philosophical debates with wizards. You've got these super serious knights just casually sipping tea with little green aliens. There are talking squirrels writing their own stories, fan fiction no less, and even a villain just sobbing in a corner because no one ever bothered to write his tragic backstory. It's a mess, but it's a beautiful mess.
Now this is where it gets serious. See, there's a direct connection between our world and theirs. Every time a writer like Elena stops working on a story, a new resident just appears at the Academy. But when an idea is truly abandoned, their entire world, their universe, literally starts to crumble into nothing.
Kale lays it all out for her. This isn't just some creative slump anymore. The very existence of this place and everyone in it is hanging by a thread. The only thing that can save them is a complete story written from beginning to end. So, to save this entire world, Elena has to basically go on a crash course in creativity. It's her author training montage, and honestly, it's a perfect roadmap for anyone who's ever felt stuck on a project.
This is so cool. It breaks down the whole creative process. First, she has to navigate the forest of ideas, where the trees literally whisper plot twists at her, teaching her to just follow where the story wants to go. Then, in the Valley of Voice, she has to actually talk to her characters to learn how to write dialogue that sounds real. After that, she faces the Cavern of Conflict, where she battles a literal monster made of her own writer's block. And finally, to get across the ending bridge, she has to figure out what her story is really about.
And I love this part because it perfectly captures that lesson from the value of voice. Imagine writing a line of dialogue and having your own character pop up and yell at you, "I don't talk like that." It's pretty funny, but it's also a powerful lesson in making your creations feel genuine.
This might be the most powerful lesson in the whole story. Elena comes face to face with this huge, terrifying monster of writer's block.
And how does she beat it? Not with a magic sword. She just sits down and rewrites the last 3 sentences she wrote. That's it. That one small step forward is enough to make the monster vanish. It's such a great reminder that sometimes the only way out is through, one word at a time.
Okay, training complete. Elena has the skills, she has the confidence. Now she's ready to do what she came here to do. And in the process, she's about to discover the real magic that happens when you see a project all the way to the end.
And as she starts writing, something incredible starts to happen in the world around her. With every chapter she finishes, you can see these streaks of golden ink flying across the sky, literally stitching together the plot holes that were tearing their reality apart.
And it's not just fixing the world, it's transforming the characters. They start to feel more real, more complex. Remember that villain who was crying in the corner? As she writes his story, he finally gets the tragic backstory that makes him a complete, 3-dimensional character.
And then, the final moment. She types the last sentence, hits the period, and a brilliant light just explodes across the academy. The world, once crumbling, is now solid, vibrant, and whole again. She did it. By finishing her story, she saved them all.
And here it is. This is the really cool part I promised you at the beginning. When Elena wakes up back in her room, the adventure isn't over. The book she finished is real. She publishes it, and it becomes a massive, international bestseller. The magic wasn't just in saving some fictional world. The real magic happened when she brought that finished idea into our world.
But Kale's final words are really the biggest takeaway here. Finishing that one story wasn't the end. It was the beginning of her real journey. It unlocked everything for her. So it leaves us with a question, right? It's not just about what happens to the ideas we abandon, it's about what incredible things could happen for us if we just picked one and finished it.